You get more out of life when you go out to a movie.
Hey guys, great to see you guys. Great to see Kathleen. Good to see Jeff. Jeff, I'm going to talk about your topic in a second. Good to see Brian. Good to see John. Good to see Terry. Good to see Gary. And Jeff says here, too long of an intro, get to the topic. I got to tell you why I do that. It's the show starts at 7 o'clock p.m. California and now Arizona time, 10 o'clock Eastern time. And you did realize that the intro started before 7 o'clock arrived. So you know what I do? I do that so that you guys are join early. It's like it being at the old-fashioned movie theater where you saw the Roadrunner commercial or a Popeye commercial. So I'm trying to keep you guys engaged, but I don't want to start exactly on time because I want to have something there to realize, okay, the show's ramping up. We're getting ready to rock and roll. So, Jeff, that's why I do that. So I got to tell you, that is exactly why I do it. And you guys got to realize, you know, radio is not an easy thing to do. So you got to come up with a scenario that works for me And hopefully it works for you guys, and hopefully Jeff now understands the purpose of the 4-minute interlog before we start the show. Okay, so that's exactly why I do it. So you know the show's going to start. And here I'm talking too long for Jeff. Probably doesn't even like that I'm talking right now. Good to see Glenn as well. Tonight we're going to talk about the coronavirus, okay? So maybe that's why Jeff's all hot and bothered, because he wants to get right to the topic, all right? And we are going to get to the topic. If you notice the first show I did, I talked about the coronavirus. I've done 2 shows already. This is the 3rd show on the topic. And I'm not a news guy. I'm not really even a commentator. I'm a guy that does rock and roll. But I did a corona show, and I talked about it, and I thought, corona, are you kidding me? We're all hyper. We're all so worried about this shit. What is going on? Why are we so overly anxious, overly worried? Second show I did it like a conspiracy show. Did this really come from China? Is China trying to disrupt the economy of the United States, and as a result, bringing down our economy, bringing back down our potentials to re-elect President Trump? So what is going on with that? That was the conspiracy thing. Today, I want to know how this is affecting you personally. Now, if you want to delve into the 2 previous topics, like corona, are you kidding me? If you really think it's overblown, over-exaggerated, media saturated, social media saturated, to hype it up to a degree where it's overly hyped, overly worried, everyone now is panicking. What do you think about it? You can go back to that topic if you want. I don't hold hands with you guys. You guys are open and free to talk about what you want to talk about. If you want to talk about, is China really involved? Did China create this virus and it got loose? Like there was a movie a long time ago with Dustin Hoffman. I forget the name of it. Like a virus that got loose. We see other movies where viruses get loose and devastate a country, a city, an entire world. We don't know. And I told you guys I watched this show called The Last Ship, where 90% of the population was wiped out from a virus. So if you want to get back into the second topic, which was the conspiracy thing, then go right ahead and do that if you want. I forgot to bring my water with me today. But tonight, my main drive was to talk about how it's impacting you. So if you guys want to call up, don't forget the number is 480-236-211. My God, I'm not acting like I got the coronavirus. I just had a banana, and I guess I shouldn't do that before I do a show, right? So let's talk about how it's affecting you. Because I for instance, I think I talked about this a couple nights ago. I said that my wife's twin sister, who lives in Japan, her entire family lives in Japan. So her twin sister called up and she said, I can't get these masks. And they asked my wife, Kiko, to go get masks and remedy that situation. Now, I don't know how easy it is to find masks. I don't think my wife was going out to look for masks as of yet. But then other commodities like toilet paper, it's funny. And maybe none of this is funny anymore to a lot of people, but you remember, if you live in the East Coast, and I happen to have lived in the East Coast for the majority of my life, when you live in the East Coast and you get these storms that come through, specifically snow and ice storms, everyone rushes out to a variety of places. They run out to Home Depot and they pick up shovels if their shovel's not really great from last season, and they need a better shovel, or they need an extra shovel, or they need salt for their driveway, or they need the basics like milk and bread. You go to the shelves and you can't find milk and bread on the shelves in any place that you're going prior to that storm. Storm is coming on a Monday, and you're going to stock up over the weekend to be ready for Monday. So people do that. And in the East Coast is a place that I'm very familiar with that. The shelves being empty or low on product because everyone has panicked about the snowstorm. Now, the thing about the snowstorm is it lasts how many days? I mean, you'll have snowfall for 1 day, maybe 2 days, maybe even a third day, because they have something called orphan storms, where storms break off from the jet stream and they get stuck in that area. So you hear about these orphan storms, and a snowstorm may last 3 days and may drop up to 29 inches. I was in one snowstorm not that long ago, 29 inches of snow. They were taking the snow from Philadelphia streets with no place to put them, and they were dumping that snow into the Schuylkill River, which, by the way, they call the Shorekill River. They were dumping it in there because they had no place to put it, that much snow, 29 inches of snow. So everyone was stranded, stuck. They're going to be stuck for 1, 2, or 3 days. What do they need? Can you live without milk? I guess of course you can. Can you live without toilet paper for 3 days? It's kind of marginal, right? We're going to talk about that too. So That's what I'm used to with snowstorms. So I'm a little bit used to this saving and stocking up and ready for an emergency event. But the emergency events I'm typically used to are those 1, 2, or 3 day snow events. Now we got the coronavirus. So actually my wife went out today and she actually went out to look for toilet paper, right? Now, fortunately, my wife has been this crazy person that she's like always got like a stack of 10 rolls of toilet paper. And I always ask her, I said, if I die, what are you going to do? Instead of mummifying me, you're going to wrap me in toilet paper and put me in the coffin? I used to make exaggerated jokes on it. But now, unfortunately, I don't know why, but it's funny. When we didn't need it, she had 10 rolls, and it's not the 10 individual rolls. I'm talking about the ones that are like a 12-pack of toilet paper, and she's got like 10 of them. She wasn't prepared now, and when she needs to be prepared, she's got like 3. So she went out today to try to get some. And she had to go to, I think she said she went to 3 stores that didn't have any at all. I think she went to a Walmart, an Albertsons, I forget where she ultimately went, and could get 5 packs. And actually there was a guy next to her, and she told me this. The guy next to her I think she got 3 from one store and 2 from another. The store she went to that she got 3, one guy was looking with hostile attitude in his eyes to my wife that she should just be getting 1, and then everyone else should get, if she has 3, that's 3 people that should have gotten 1 instead of my wife having 3. So my wife felt guilty and gave that guy 1 and she left with 2. So we got in our home, I think we got 8 rolls, 8 12 packs. So we've got 8 times 5 or 6 or however many. So we've got about 40 rolls, right? In fact, I got one here. But, one of the interesting things is, too, it's allergy season in Arizona. Because in Arizona, this month is all of our growth. So I've got an allergy, and just about 2 weeks ago, I was going through like a roll of toilet paper. And I don't know why I use toilet paper instead of tissue. Maybe because toilet paper is a little more genteel to your nose instead of tissue. So I was using this. I was going through a roll of this about every day, the roll of this because I had an allergy. So I was using the roll a day. Now, fortunately, my allergy has eased up, so I'm not going through as much toilet paper. So that kind of was a luck of the draw. But now it's funny. For instance, what did I do here? I think I ate the banana here, and I had a little bit. I think I dropped something. You know what I did? I took the toilet paper, and I cut this little tiny piece to pick it up because now I'm conserving toilet paper, if you can believe that. I wonder how many people are doing this. I wonder how many people are going to the places because they can't get it at Walmart, can't get it at Target, and I think I saw some stuff sent by John of a Target in South Brunswick, New Jersey. And by the way, John, if you're watching tonight, and John is watching, the South Brunswick store you went to, if you look on Route 1, I'm sure that's the one you went to, right next to it is an extended stay. And that extended stay, by the way, right next to that Target, is the one I stayed at when I first went to New Jersey for my job at the Motor Vehicle Commission. So John and I share the same neighborhood. But back to the story here. So if you go to this Target or Walmart and you see empty shelves with no toilet paper, I wonder what people are doing. Now, they got to make do with no toilet paper, and I'm not going to get to the dirty, nasty stuff with this. We got a call now, but can you please hang on until I want to start doing this. I want to start announcing when I'm ready to take calls so I can do a little bit of a monologue, and then we'll take callers, okay? So stay tuned and hang on. Keep your shirt on. Keep your blouse on. Keep your bra on. Keep your panties on, and I'm going to get to you, okay? I wonder if people are doing this. For instance, where can you get these products if you can't go out and buy them? Where can you go and rip off the place that's got it? I wonder if people are going to public toilets. Like, for instance, we have a place here called Freestone Park. Of course, if you go to any park where they do have like the little, what do they call them, porta potties. And I hate to go to them. I don't go to porta potties. But now you're going to see people going to porta potties, and they're going to look for a roll of toilet paper in there, and they're going to swipe it and keep it. So now what does that mean? The people that own those portable johns are now going to say, you know what, I'm not going to stock it anymore? Because I'll tell you this story. For John that knows the area probably where the extended stay is, where I would. Extended stay used to offer their customers, their visitors there, their tenants there. They used to offer them oranges and apples. So every morning I would get up ready to go to work at Motor Vehicle Commission. I'd have an apple and I would have an orange, but one of each. That would be it. You would see the construction workers going with plastic bags and putting like 7 or 8 of them into plastic bags. So you know what happened? Extended Stay stopped the oranges and the apples, and now they only give you the little granola bars. So that's what breakfast is to them. It's called the grab and go breakfast. So I wonder if these porta potty, that's a hard word to say quickly. Porta potties. Try to say that 10 times quickly. I wonder if they're going to stop prepping those places with a roll of toilet paper. I want now, where else can you go? Public libraries. They've got toilets and restrooms in the public libraries, and you can go in there, and of course they've got the facility. At least they've got toilet paper. Now, a lot of places have automated the hand dispensers, so you know when you dry your hands, you're doing it under a machine that gives out hot air to dry your hands. So there's sometimes places don't have the napkins or towels to dry your hands off. So, you know, people might go in there looking for anything that they can grab paper-oriented. So where are they going to go? They're going to go to a library. Maybe they're going to go to a Starbucks, because you notice in Starbucks, they've got on each of the tables, they've got the napkin dispensers. I wonder how many people are going to go in there, grab a coffee, sit down, and grab a handful of 20 napkins from Starbucks and stick it in their pocket, because at least they've got a supply of 20. The next morning they'll go again, and they'll grab a supply of 15. And they'll grab as many as they can, so that they have an inventory of 100. If you figure if you grab 20 a day for 5 days, you got 100 napkins from Starbucks. And then I wonder what Starbucks is going to do. Are they going to stop with the napkins there, and then when you go to Starbucks at the front counter, they're going to give you your coffee, and they're going to limit you and give you 2 napkins, because that's all they want to populate you with, is because you're in there to not only grab a coffee. How many people go to places when they got a $20 bill in their pocket? And some place where the $20 bill, everyone accepts them, but some people don't accept $50 bills. And you want to go someplace and you want to use your $50 bill. So sometimes you may go to a Starbucks. Now I think Starbucks probably won't take a $50 bill, but how many of you go to, like, with a $50 bill, you go to Target and you buy like a milk, you know, the small little milks, which is about, how much is that? About $1.70 or something like that. You go in there with your $50 bill. Target is easily going to break your 50, and you go in there with your 50, buy milk, and you walk out with change of your 50. So I wonder how many people are going to go into Starbucks now, and they're going to spend money for a coffee. They're going to buy like the least expensive coffee they can, and they're going to go in there because their main incentive to go to Starbucks is now to get the napkins from the Starbucks. I wonder if they're going to do that. Where else would you go? McDonald's? Because I think McDonald's is one of the places, I think, and you could all, when you go in there, if they don't have the napkins there, you could always ask them. I think McDonald's, I don't go to fast food places much, but I think I went a couple weeks ago just to get a coffee, and I think they did have the napkin dispenser where they have like the mustard and stuff like that, and you can go in there and you can take napkins. And typically I've done that. Like, for instance, I go in when I walk Willie, our dog, and we walk in this park and there's a coffee shop there. Sometimes if I've got an allergy, I'll go into the coffee shop knowing that, okay, I forgot to bring napkins today because I've got an allergy. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to get 5 or 6 napkins so that when I'm walking Willie, our dog, if I happen to breathe in some pollen, I've got the napkins now in my pocket. I wonder how many people are doing that. Go into places because they can't go to Walmart, they can't go to Kmart, they can't go to all the places that they're going because we're seeing all the shelves. And my wife saw that today, and I was kind of surprised. I wonder how many people are going to go. You guys now are probably hearing me and you're thinking, Dave's got an idea tomorrow. Let's go to the library. Let's go to Starbucks in the morning, get our coffee because we're going there anyway. Let's grab about 15 napkins. We may not need them today, but if this keeps on going on and the inventory of toilet paper is missing, over the course of these days, I've now accumulated, at least I've got 50 napkins from Starbucks to wipe my bottom with. I've got napkins. It may not be comfortable, but I got a product instead of going out there and using leaves from the lawn. What are you going to do? Have you guys thought of remedies for this? So let's see if anyone says something before. No calls yet. Let me read some of the chat if you don't mind. So Mike Johnson, and he says, hey Dave, how's it going? I'll say hello to you as well. Let's see. Kathleen says, I'm the Burr Lady of Kent. So Kathleen's been on the show. She was a prior guest. Thanks for joining the show tonight. You guys, I see, are saying hello to each other. Let's see. John says, it was at the Amazon when I worked there. Free bananas to the workers. People took bags of them out of there. See that? And that's what people will do. they will take advantage of a free opportunity. Like I said, extended stay, free apples and oranges, abused by the construction workers, basically. Literally taking bags, plastic bags, and putting 7 or 8 in there. So that the normal guys like me that are courteous, who would take 1 or 2, no longer have any. And then we have to ask the staff in the front of the, what's the name of the place again? The extended stay. I'd go up there and I'd say, look, there's no apples and oranges. And she would go back and get them, hesitating to do so. Or she'd say, Dave, there aren't any left. They've all been eaten already. And so then I got to wake up early to get my supply of them. And then instead of taking 2, I'll take 3 or 4 so I have some for tomorrow. So see, it perpetuates. It perpetuates itself. So anyone else that quarantine, let's see, Kathleen says, quarantine ourselves for 2 weeks. So is that your solution? And people are probably doing that, by the way. They're self-quarantining themselves because they don't want to go out in public. How many of you guys, for instance, this week I was taking courses, and I was in a Arizona building with about 15 or 12, 15, 18 people in there. And it did dawn on me, should I be in there taking this course with exposure to 18 people? Now, I don't think anything predominant yet is happening in Phoenix, Arizona, but that's where I am. I'm in Arizona, sitting there with 15, 18 people, and fortunately nobody coughed. Now, I will tell you something else that happened, though, in the same building, because I went to meet an instructor there, I think it was last week on a Monday, and she actually, because Arizona is the home of grapefruits, oranges. In fact, Sunkist actually has a factory here in Arizona because it's sunny all the time, except this year it's been a lot of rain. But it's sunny all the time. All you got to do is add water and everything grows. Got constant sunshine, 300 plus days a year in Arizona. All you do is add water and everything grows. So, of course, Sunkist is here. A lot of people have orange trees, and we do. We have an orange, lemon, and grapefruit tree. So did this other individual who's an instructor there. She brought in 2 grapefruits. And you know what? To turn this into a joke, she wouldn't let me squeeze her grapefruits. That's a joke, but in all reality, that's not a joke. She would not let me. She was showing me the grapefruit, and she said, this grapefruit's almost the size of a cantaloupe. Look at this, Dave. But, you know, she did pull it away. And you know what? When I went in there to meet her 2 weeks prior to this last week, I was able to, when I first met her, first time I met her, I shook her hand. When I went in 2 weeks later, which was this past Monday, like I said, please hang on and I will get to you in a second. But you know what? I will get to the call here. Okay. Hey, this is Dave Darren on the Dave Darren Show. You're calling in. The topic tonight is the coronavirus. Welcome. Would you like to participate? Call failed. Looks like I lost the caller, but maybe that person will call back from area code 360. Please call back and I'll talk to you. And actually, anyone that wants to call in right now to over talk my rambling, please do so. 480-236-2111. But I'm one, like I said, handshakes. I went to a BMW dealer because I'm not bragging about owning a BMW because it's an old one anyway, guys. Don't worry about it. It's an old BMW from '92. Went to the BMW dealer to get some work done. The service guy there, I was talking to him, and at the end of it, I said, you know, how many people come in here? And this was last week, so pretty recent. How many people come in here for service and will no longer shake your hand? He said, you'd be surprised. You would be surprised how many people won't shake my hand. And what do we do? What do we do? Like, for instance, I'm meeting clients. When I go in to meet a client, what do I do? It kind of seems impolite. We have an unknown caller now. This is always risky, unknown callers. It is the Dave Darren on the Dave Darren Show. You are an unknown caller. I usually don't take unknown callers because usually they're hecklers or someone, but let's talk to you. Let's see who you are. What do you got in mind to talk to about today?
Hey, Dave. It's Jeff. How you doing?
Hey, pretty good, Jeff. Good to talk to you.
I want to give some insight on this toilet paper shortage fiasco that's gripping the nation, it seems. I speak from experience in retail. So there is no shortage of toilet paper, per se, from the inventory of the warehouses of grocery stores and manufacturers. This is what we call a consumer-based toilet paper shortage. And that's all it is. It's panicky people who think they're going to be quarantined for 2 weeks and need to have, 40 rolls of toilet paper at their disposal.
Right. Yeah. So it is very much like I mentioned at the beginning of the program. You might have missed that. It's very much like being on the East Coast. Snowstorm's coming on a Monday, and it's supposed to be a 12-inch, 13-inch snowstorm. Everyone goes out and they buy milk, they buy bread, they buy gas for their car. They buy the necessities because they're in a panic mode about how long they're going to be locked in their house for the mere 2 or 3 or 4 days. This is actually longer than that because we have no idea how long this is going to last. So now we're all stocking up on the essentials and drawing the demand of these essential products and emptying the shelves. So it's a panic-related situation with this virus, correct?
It is, but there's one difference. In storm situation, you're having trouble getting product to the grocery warehouses, the regional warehouses, and then in turn having trouble getting product to the stores. We're not having that problem on the store side. We're ordering the normal amount. Now, we're not ordering a whole bunch of extra because stores don't have that storage room. I know that the typical idea that the customer thinks that there's an entire infinite back room where you can store everything. That's not true. Very limited space. They do something called max quantities, which they only allow you to order a certain amount anyway to stop them from running out of inventory. So, yeah, I mean, it's just one-sided this time. It's not a double-sided panic where they can't get the product to the warehouses. We're getting shipments in every night. I order paper for one of my stores, and we are ordering and we're filling it up, and they're emptying it by noon, and we're ordering it and filling it up. So it's people. It's the people panicking that they need it, and if they would just buy what they need instead of buying what they think they need, we wouldn't have a problem.
Is your specific store thinking about putting limits on how many they can buy?
Yes, we have. Most stores in this area have. Most of the major grocery. I work for one of the largest grocery stores in the U.S. And yes, we have put limits on hand sanitizer, cleaning products, disinfectants, toilet paper, and even paper towels. Because people have resorted to paper towels now.
Yep. Now, of course, there is a loophole to get around that. For instance, if you're a husband and wife and you have a couple teenage kids, each of those 4 people can go in there unannounced as related, grab 4 carts, and they could take your limit times 4 and multiply it by that amount that they're taking out of the store. And you can't control that, of course. But that might be a level of panic that individuals have where they think we're going to just break the family up to each person being a shopper. Right? That probably happens. It probably dawns on people to do that.
I mean, it happens when you have quantities limited on anything like pop or, if there's a quantity, people will do that. So, there's that loophole. And, store staff's not going to sit there and remember that you already come through it in the morning for, 5 rolls of toilet paper. They're not going to be that vigilant about it. But most people, most people are going to just get what they can. They're not going to try to buck the system. I mean, obviously a few will.
Yeah. Now, the interesting thing is you said that your warehouse in the back is not a huge warehouse. It's obviously a place that's built for the store for a capacity to hold every product in that back room. There's an area where you store a certain quantity as a backlog so you can fill up the shelves based upon the usual supply and demand. And you guys have that all calculated so you know approximately how much soda you need, how much Comet cleanser you need. And so you have that philosophy already. You have that number calculated. So now that things have shifted a bit where the toilet paper demand has become extreme, and you mentioned that there's a maximum you can order from your supplier. As your supplier told you, you can now extend your maximum by a certain extent because now obviously your back room, which was usually populated with enough toilet paper as a backlog, now the drain is becoming enough where you could actually support more inventory in that back room than you had before because the back room is emptying out. So you can refill that pipeline quicker. Can you get more product in there? Is your supplier allowing you to increase your maximum?
I mean, if we really wanted to override our normal ordering system, because it's a computer-assisted ordering system, it's all based on movement of sales and it's basically writing an order for you. So, I mean, you can go in and adjust it. So if we really wanted to try to get like 10 pallets of Charmin, we could try. But it also depends on warehouse availability. They're not increasing, they can't increase their product load past what's allocated for toilet paper. That warehouse is completely full. I mean, there's no extra space to add bonuses. I mean, they're getting shipments in, more steadily from the supplier, like, Procter & Gamble and all the, toilet paper manufacturers, but they're not. I mean, we could try to order a little bit more, but then you get to a point where now you're crowding up your back room. It's hard to move, and then it's hard to get your product out in a timely fashion. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you really got to balance it out. I mean, we're told to order what we need for each day because we get truck every day.
Okay, now I happen to live during the time of Hurricane Sandy on the East Coast. Gasoline pumps where you pump your gas full of gas so you can maneuver around. Gas stations were actually, during Hurricane Sandy, because there was a rush on fuel, they actually raised their prices for gas. And a lot of people believe, and I'm not sure that I disbelieve this, but at times when there's heavy travel, like the big holiday season, when people are getting in their cars ready to travel, on a typical weekend where there's a huge spike in holiday travel, and sometimes people think, okay, the price of gas went up by 4 cents a gallon, so they could rake us over the coal because now they realize that the supply and demand curve is going to be shifted to less supply, much more demand, so the price is going to go up, and because they're greedy, they're going to want to make more money. Supply and demand curve now for this product. Now, you said there's not a shortage of supply, but there obviously is a spike in demand based upon the fear. Is there any increase in the price of toilet paper or products of this type?
No, and we're still currently running all of our sales. None of our sales plans have been affected. If we have, say we have Charmin on sale in a couple of weeks for 2 for $3, it's going to be 2 for $3.
Okay.
There's no, we're not allowed to price gouge. I mean, the Attorney General of my state and all the other states where my company works, they're really watching this price gouging.
Okay.
You may see an increase in cost from the supplier. Like, I could really see hand sanitizer and cleaning wipes and bleach costs go up. But the stores absorb some of that and have a sale. So the consumer a lot of times didn't see that increase in cost to the store because of the sale price. It's not in our interest actually to price gouge.
Okay.
That chases the big customers long term, and it's very illegal. And I know in 2001, we had the price gouging with 9/11. A lot of those places aren't open anymore, and they've never came back into business. So it's really frowned upon. And if you're a reputable business, you don't want to go into those kind of waters.
Okay. One more question for you. I'm curious about this too. The place that you work in, I'm assuming, of course, everyone goes into Albertsons or Target or Lowe's or Home Depot, and they all have restrooms in the back. In fact, I go to PetSmart with our dog, and even they have restrooms in the back. You obviously have restrooms in your back somewhere, correct? In your facility? For the public,
yes.
For the public I'm talking about. Public restrooms
yes.
that people go in. Do you notice that when your shelves are lacking in the toilet paper now, which you admitted that they are, do you notice people going in there? Are they doing what I said, finding ways to get the products that they need? Or are they going in there and ripping off the toilet paper?
I haven't noticed it. I mean, we have the toilet paper dispensers that are covered, and basically the toilet paper hangs out the bottom. But every time I've gone in there, it's been full. We fill it like 2 or 3 times a day, depending if it needs to be. Anytime I've gone in there, it's been full. There hasn't been, people walking out with, a roll of it. We keep it locked up, extras that we have. I haven't noticed, any shortages. I haven't heard of any shortages in the women's restroom. So far here, people have been pretty civil about things.
It almost sounds funny and almost sounds humorous, but like I said, people might start to do that. For instance, I told you guys when I first started the show, my wife today had to go to, I think, the 4th place to find a supply of toilet paper. So she had to go to 3 that didn't have any. So now if that 4th one didn't have any, and if the 5th one didn't have any, and we were low on a supply, I might think tomorrow when I go to my client, I might use the restroom there instead of using the restroom at home because there's no alternative. Or I might think, okay, you know what? In the morning I go to Starbucks. Starbucks happens to have on each table, they got the napkin thing. I'm going to take about 10 napkins from there. So we may get to that point because there's no real shortage of products, but the demand on the product is draining the shelves currently. And people might resort to doing that. That might be an interesting thing where Starbucks may change from, I think there's some stores that have done that. Like I forget which one fast food chain does that, but they no longer have the ketchup or the mustard. They ask you when you go there to buy McNuggets, I think. They ask you what you would like as a dipping sauce. So you say, I like the honey mustard, and they'll give it to you instead of having the dispenser out there. So I wonder if that's what it's going to come down to. You're going to go, depending on how long this lasts. I wonder if they'll start putting limitations on that. You guys have already put limitations on the amount of toilet paper you can purchase. I wonder if it'll ever get to that point where we'll have to start limiting what we give the public.
Well, I think there's a lot of waste in it, regardless of whether there's an epidemic going around or not. And also, I'll give the audience here a little tip. If you have a favorite grocery store and they've been out of toilet paper, go up to one of the workers that works in one of the grocery aisles and ask them when they stock it.
Oh.
If it's a 24-hour store, plan on going in a little earlier in the middle of the night. If they don't open all day and they're not open all night, go very early in the morning when they open up because they stock that stuff overnight.
Yeah.
It's the only time we can keep it on the shelf. So the early bird gets the worm, early bird gets the toilet paper.
There we go. That's right. Well, Jeff, thanks very much for calling. By the way, let me ask you one final question. I lied. I have one more question for you. Do you think that this pandemic, now it's called a pandemic, I believe, do you think this is a true threat to health, to world health? Do you think it's is it a true threat? Is it over exaggerated? What do you think?
I think it's over exaggerated. I think it's obviously people are getting sick. But is it a pandemic in the fact that once in a couple of weeks when we know more about it, I think they'll bring it down out of pandemic stage. Right now we just don't know about it. And when we don't know, we fear and we get all panicky. It's nothing more than the flu in terms of what it does. I think we're in the throes of a panic, but in a couple of weeks, I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be back to normal.
Yep. Now, it may take a while for the economy to come back to normal because obviously it crashed quite a bit. I didn't track it today, but we've lost a lot of that. I wonder how long it'll take for that to come back. I'm not sure. So maybe a time to invest now. Who knows? Because the rebound might be quite rapid because obviously the decline was quite rapid. So I don't know if people should invest and really hop on board that, knowing that when this passes over in potentially a couple weeks, maybe the investments will come as quickly as the decline did. Maybe this is a good chance to catch that wave on the increase. I'm not sure. Don't know.
I'd invest now. If a stock is tanked, everything recovers, just time.
Yep.
Invest now, and in 4 months, you're probably going to have a return on your investment.
Yep, very true. Okay, well, Jeff, thanks so much for calling. Let me get to my next call, and here we go. Thanks, Jeff.
All right.
Hello, this is Dave Darren on the Dave Darren Show. Who's calling? Enter and sign in,
Wait,
please.
I gotta turn you down. Okay. Hi.
Hi, Terry. So what's going on? What do you want to talk about? Obviously, you want to talk about this. Hopefully, we're on topic with this. So what do you see where
Yes.
you are? Is there a panic now? Is there a run? Are people worried about this now?
Yes, there are people panicking.
Uh-huh.
There are people who don't have their own homes, people who are living in elderly buildings, or what are those other things, nursing homes, and places like that. are worried because their family members, especially nursing homes, their family members are not allowed to go to visit them because of, what's going on, the virus.
Yeah, well,
So they're all by themselves.
Yeah, because, elderly people, like for instance, now I might call up my parents tomorrow because my mother just came out of an operation. I think you know that because actually you text messaged me on WhatsApp. And I told my mother, who's 80 years old, she had a little bit of heart surgery recently. And my father's 87 years old, so they're a little more fragile than they were 10 years ago. So I might call them up and I say, what are you doing? Are you going out to like dinner like you periodically, I know you do? Are you doing anything to limit yourselves in travel? Because even though this is something that is maybe not as critical or overblown and over-exaggerated, however, the people that are of weaker resistance or weaker, what do they call that? Weaker immune systems might be more
older.
Yeah, and like you said,
that includes you and I, David, also. You're not talking about people that are just in their 80s or 70s. I mean, they're talking about us also.
Well, I always tell
in
you.
Our 60s.
Yeah, but you know this, and you've said this before. Dave Downer is a real pain in the ass, so the pain in the ass and the mean people live forever. So I'm not worried about that.
I don't think anything will live on you.
I will live.
Yeah.
Nothing will live on me. That's exactly right. So
no.
Let me, I'll tell you this, and you can respond to this if you want, because there's very big facilities that have gatherings of a large quantity of people. Now, my wife told me this, so I didn't verify this today, so I'm taking my wife at her word, and she watches the news a whole lot. But she told me a couple of things significant closed. She told me that in New York City, Broadway has shut down. Did you hear that, or can anyone confirm that? Because like I said, I was busy all day. I wasn't able to check the news. I was swamped. But is Broadway closed down? Broadway, New York City, is it closed down? Does anyone, Terry, do you know that, or you may not know that?
I did not hear that. However, I did hear that in Massachusetts, in Boston, that the what do you call it? What do you call it? District? Jesus Christ, where Macy's is and stores like that are closed. It's closed down. They're closed down.
Right. Well,
they closed down. Yesterday, they declared a state of emergency throughout Massachusetts because we had 51 more cases, which brought the number of cases up to 91.
Uh-huh. Oh.
Today, that is almost 91 plus like 40.
Uh-huh.
So it's Dave. We're very calm about it for some reason. I don't know why, but maybe we shouldn't be as calm as we are about things.
Well, I did look
like
up.
This.
I just did look up right now, and I guess this is a legitimate resource because it's also in New York City. But I looked up www.nytimes, so that's the New York Times, and they are reporting Broadway, symbol of New York resilience, shuts down amid. And I have to hit the link to see what the whole article is, but amid, and let me get to the next word, but amid virus threat. So there we go. So Broadway did shut down. Something. Yep. Now, something also, and these are symbols of the strength and the resilience of the economy, and when these things shut down, it's significant. For instance, Arizona, there's two major states in the United States that have spring training. Florida has spring training, which they call, I think it's called the Citrus, that's a hard word to say too, Citrus League. Arizona has the Cactus League. So we've got our spring training, and again, I didn't Google this, and I could in a couple seconds like I did Broadway in New York City, but according to my wife, who's monitored the news and she was accurate about Broadway, supposedly spring training, which took place last week, spring training was going on and rocking and rolling last week. Supposedly,
the baseball, Dave?
Yeah, the
baseball, you mean?
Yeah, spring training of the baseball. Yes, the spring training in Arizona.
Okay.
Spring training in Arizona now. We have the Chicago Cubs out here. We have San Diego. We have a lot of teams out here that are typically on the west that come to Arizona because it's very dry out here. They come and they practice in Arizona, but supposedly spring training is now canceled. Another thing that
God.
Yeah, so you wonder, and major gathering obviously in these facilities, and the interesting thing is spring training in Arizona, all the facilities that I'm aware of, they're all open, so at least you have a flow of air. They're not closed, confined buildings, so at least they're open air. So you would think that maybe they'd be a little less susceptible, but still, I guess you're sitting in close proximity to somebody else, and they don't want that gathering potential to take place. So it's really escalating to a huge degree.
David, now it's getting really scary. Now, John was putting on these little blogs about, I don't know what you call them, posts about people buying toilet paper yesterday. And I was saying to myself, what the hell is, why would people be buying a lot of toilet paper? I said to John today, is it on sale? And he said, no, Terry. He didn't even answer me. He just must think I'm an idiot. But I didn't understand why people were going crazy buying toilet paper.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now I know.
Yeah, by the way, Jeff says something funny now. He says all orgies have been canceled.
Oh, what? Orgies? Did you say orgies? I didn't just say.
No, I didn't say that. Disgusting Jeff just said that, but it's very funny. Jeff said,
as long as it wasn't just me.
Yeah, Jeff.
I'll tell Jeff that, if you could like quicker than I, just tell Jeff we'll make it for next week.
Right. I wonder if
or maybe next month.
I wonder. Let me get to my next caller, Terry. Let me thank you because we do have another caller. Let me get to my next caller to give a variety of people a chance to talk today. So, Terry, thanks so much for calling. Okay.
Why can't I get on and just listen? I don't interrupt.
Oh, okay. Hang on. Hello, caller. This is Dave Barron. You're on the line right now. Can you lower your background noise so we can talk to you?
Yep, just turn it off. Hi, this is Sparky. I was just going to comment on what you were talking about before, right before Jeff called, and you were talking about how you wanted to conduct yourself. Did you want to shake hands or not shake hands or this, that, and the other thing? So I just wanted to share, anytime there's any kind of a flu epidemic, I've always done that. Fortunately, I'm in good health. I never do get the flu, don't take flu shot or anything like that. And I'm always extremely cautious. And I just tell people right up front, and I've done it with a couple of groups that I belong to. I just announced, I'm not hugging, I'm not kissing, and shaking hands anymore. And most of the people said, "Oh, yeah, I'm not either." And I had some work done at a place that I own yesterday, and I hired him before, and we've become friends throughout the years. He went to give me a hug, and I said, just put my hands up. I said, "Thanks a lot. I appreciate the hug. Give it an air hug. I'm not hugging, kissing, or shaking hands." And oh no, I understand. I got to start doing that too. So if that's the way you feel and you don't want to do it, people are very receptive, and I think it's a really good idea. So I just wanted to share that with you. And the number two, I don't understand the toilet paper frenzy. You can't eat toilet paper. I mean, if all the canned soup was gone, I could understand that. But I don't get the toilet paper thing. So, anyway, that's all I have to say. Just wanted to share those thoughts.
Well, before you hang up, let me ask you this question. Once this pandemic is mellowed out or subsided or disappeared completely, do you think you will continue with the lack of handshakes? Because obviously at this point where we're thinking, okay, here's a potential to spread disease, but it lingers throughout the year. And if someone's got a cold, someone doesn't have a cold with symptoms yet, but they've got a cold which you could catch. Do you think this will linger on forever for you specifically?
It hasn't in the past. When things calm down and people are healthy again, and you don't hear anything of them say the H1N1. When I stopped hearing about it all the time, and you weren't hearing about people being sick and this, that, and the other thing, eventually I, resumed shaking hands or hugging people and that type of a thing. But when things like that are in progress, and any time there's been a flu that's been announced as a bad flu, that's just been, my normal behavior. And as I say, I've never had anyone look hurt or, annoyed or anything like that. I'm just straightforward. And as I said, some people say, yeah, I should do that too. I'm going to do that too. So just wanted to share that.
And any personal things change with it? For instance, I've got one for you. If you guys notice when you watch the show, Dave Darren has this habit of when I'm listening to people, sometimes I'll be like this, like I'll have a hand on my chin and I'll be listening to you. So now it's dawned on me, okay, since today I met 5 or 6 people. Now, by the way, I didn't shake anyone's hands today, but typically I would. And now it's dawning on me, even though we don't shake people's hands, we still touch like books that we share or computers that we're on that are public terminals where someone's hands were on the keyboard, and now my hands are on the keyboard. So it dawned on me today, I'm at the class I was attending to because I've been there all week, and my hand actually, I'm listening to the instructor, and my hand's on my face, and the first thing I thought of is, Dave, remove your hands from your face because, so it dawned on me today, I've got to change my personal habits of doing things a little bit differently and being more aware of them. Has anything changed like that for you specifically?
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's also past behavior for me. However, I'm doing something with this flu epidemic that I've never done before, and that's when I go grocery shopping. I put you get these little plastic lightweight gloves. You can I get them at the dollar store. You get 100 of them in a package. And when I get out of the car and go to the grocery store, I wear those. And then when I'm all done, then I throw them away, and then I wash my hands really good.
Are you aware?
I'm sorry?
Are you aware of people that might be coughing around you? For instance, I have a little clip here that's a comedy clip thing that I feel like, should I air it or should I not air it? But I'm curious. If someone coughs around you, or you hear someone, for instance, if you're in a public place, if you happen to go to a library, maybe I'll go to a library next week. If I'm in a library and I hear someone coughing, am I going to make sure that I steer away from that person? So are you more aware of your environment? You are as well.
Yep. Oh, yeah, totally and completely. In fact, if there's the pharmacy, I do a lot of weird things. If there's the pharmacy line and there's people in the pharmacy line, you have to, like, walk by it because you're in a safe place. I always hold my breath when I walk by people. If somebody does sneeze around me, I quit breathing and I run away really fast. Any other questions, you'll find out how weird I really am.
Well, Sparky, but one more question for you. One more question, and maybe we'll get to another caller, and maybe we'll bring Terry back on the line. But I am curious about this. Do you think this is an overblown situation, or do you think this is something from China that's been dispersed upon the United States and the world to bring down the world economy? What do you think is what's going on here? Do you have an idea? And I know you do, so share it with us.
Well, I'm a conspiracy thinker. I pay attention to all kinds of weird conspiracies. I'm not saying I'm one that normally doesn't believe or disbelieve. I just like accumulating information. And I've heard for years and years about the desire to decrease the population of the world. You've got your Georgia Guidestones that show the population is 500 million in the world. And so supposedly this has been an agenda for quite a while. You can call it Agenda 21, there's Agenda 500 or something to do with 500. Anyway, it's all the supposed desire to decrease the world's population. Also, I've heard people say throughout the years, yes, forget about any kind of boots on the ground war. That is World War III. It will be biological warfare. So I start thinking about things like that. So I tend to believe that this is engineered. And it's engineered rather cleverly, that it doesn't seem to be bothering the children, but it is it's a lot more dangerous to the elderly, and that are either elderly and healthy or elderly and compromised. So what easiest first step than to unleash something upon the world's population and make sure that you get rid on the first round as many of the elderly people as you can. Just makes sense. Now, I don't know if it's the truth or not, but it just, the thinking process, it could, that could be. I don't know.
Yep.
And not only that, if you think about it too, this is a very interesting time for the United States. If you want to take down the United States or cause a lot of problems for the United States, and we, as far as I can see from everything I've been following, we are not really prepared for this. Most people are in denial. Never happened here, type of a thing, and I think that just may be a wrong scenario. So I'm not. Yeah, I guess to briefly or in summary answer your question, yes, I believe that it's biological warfare, and this is step one.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Scary thoughts. Sparky, thanks so much for calling and being on the Dave Darren Show.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
that.
Don't
Okay.
stop.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Cheers. Okay. Hey, Terry, I'm back with you. Sorry about that. So you can shut your radio off now in the background, if you can. I think she's listening in. So you know what? I'm gonna hang up on Terry, and Terry can call back, and I'll get you back on the program because obviously I had you on hold while I was talking to Sparky. Or how about anyone else call in and talk about your frame of mind on this particular topic? We have a large group of people listening in tonight, which is good. Let's see. Let's read some of the comments. Glenn says the only thing I'm doing different is fewer handshakes. That's the only thing Glenn Iverson is doing differently. Let's see. John says I'm wiping down shopping carts too. So there we go. Something going on differently. I remember, I think the Albertsons that my wife and I shop in, if I recall, or it's either AJ's, which is another, so AJ's for you guys on the East Coast is our equivalent of Wegmans. And I believe that the Wegmans outside, or as you approach the inside of the building, you have the first door you go through, and then there's usually a second door you go through. There's all the electric automated doors. Somewhere in between, they do have a dispenser where you can wipe your hands going in. You can grab a little towelette, and you can wipe off the shopping cart with that moist towelette so that the shopping cart you're touching is then somewhat cleaner. And then on the way out, you can grab another one of these towelettes and wipe down your hands because you were engaged in shopping and touching the shopping cart, so you can utilize them. In fact, the dog park where my wife and I walk, they do have one of those porta potties, and I noticed now they put an outside dispenser around the 5 porta potties, and the outside dispenser actually has a lotion to put on your hands, and that wasn't there before 3 weeks ago. So people are doing things differently, and things are changing. So let's see. Anyone else want to call? The phone number is 480-236-2111. We heard all the way from Jeff. We heard from Terry. And we heard from Sparky. Anyone else who would like to call, I'd like to get your point of view. And it could be one of 3 topics that we've covered. Is the coronavirus, is it an overblown thing? Is it fabricated, or are we all up in arms about nothing at all? Is it all a hoax? Is it all a joke? What do you think? Or you can talk about what Sparky was talking about, a conspiracy theory, but there's things out there a little bit unusual. Obviously, this virus, is targeting a selection of elder people, which are either compromised or just not compromised, and they're just old and they're more fragile, like my parents I mentioned. Or would you like to talk about what I started the topic off with today, which was what are you feeling in your city, in your town, in your household? What do you feel? Let's play a little commercial, and I'll get ready to take more calls. Hopefully some of you guys will call in. And I'll tell you what, we'll do this. I noticed, and this is unusual, Weird Al Yankovic, you know this guy, funny guy. He did, remember My Corona? He did a parody, the guy is always doing parodies, called 9 Coronas. And is it inappropriate to play this, or is it appropriate to play it? So, we have another call. Let me take the other call here, and then we'll get to the commercial break. This is Dave Darren on the Dave Darren Show. You're calling in. Our topic tonight is the coronavirus. What would you like to share with us?
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned about the coronavirus. I think there's a deeper threat, and that would be the Wuhan virus. The Wuhan virus is very bad, and you can see what happens when a Wuhan is in the White House. Everyone gets sick.
Oh, a boomer, right? A baby boomer. Is that what you said?
Oh, the Wuhan virus, yeah. Yes, the rage virus, a.k.a. the Wuhan virus.
What are you saying? How spell that? Boomer, like baby boomer? What word are you using? I can't. It's not clear.
Rage virus.
The rage virus. Rage.
The rage and the boomer virus are combined to make one equal the deadly virus.
All right, I'm not familiar with these things you're talking about. So how did you find all this out? And obviously that caller hung up. So we had no clarity from that guy. I have no idea if he was a heckler. It seemed like he was. And if he hung on the line, I was going to give you his phone number so you guys can call him up and heckle him. I was going to give his phone number out, but he hung up, so he's obviously succumbed to the coronavirus. Who knows? Commercial break. I'm going to play Weird Al Yankovic's 9 Coronas, and I did see that, shockingly enough, you can play this. So I'll play this, and I'll take the call and put them on hold, and we'll get to the caller right after the Weird Al Yankovic 9 Coronas. Here we go.
9 Coronas, the girl looked good to me, good to me. She looked like Pamela Lee after 9 Coronas. I began to kiss her, undid her zipper. She looked like Claudia Schiffer after 9 Coronas. When I met her at the bar, she said she was like Baywatch. When she got into my car, she looked a lot like Sasquatch. Bow, wow, 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 wow. 9 Coronas. She kinda looked like Mr. Spock.
Live long and prosper.
But she was Courtney Cox after 9 Coronas. We were hot with passion. We were matching cause she looked like Jennifer Aniston after 9 Coronas. Late into the night, I rode her like a Harley in the soft candlelight. She looked like Chris Farley. Bow, wow, 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 wow. 9 Coronas. She was fat and stinky and kinda sticky, but she looked like Christine Brinkley after 9 Coronas. She looked like Pee Wee Herman.
That's my name, don't wear it out.
But she was Uma Thurman after 9 Coronas. In our 23rd position, I think I got whiplash. She was really vicious, except for her mustache. Bow, wow, 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 wow. She was bigger than a Winnebago, a way to go. She looked like Lisa Kudrow after 9 Coronas. She was no Cindy Crawford. Cindy Crawford, nothing runs with Cindy Crawford after 9 Coronas. Open up another bottle, I started drinking more beer so I can wake up next to Heather Locklear. Yeah, 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 yeah. 9 Coronas. 9 Coronas. 9 Coronas.
Hey, welcome back to the Dave Nash Show. We do have Terry on the line. We're going to bring Terry on in a couple seconds because I think she's still talking to some friends or family. But we're going to get her in here in a couple seconds. So she's got her 1 minute warning now, and then we'll get her on the line. But out of curiosity, I was looking around, and here's a picture of current day London. And let me pull this up and grab it a little bit larger. But you see here it says people wearing face masks on the street of London on Wednesday. But you do notice in this picture that I got showing up here, you see out of the group of people here, they got about 10 people pictured. But you see in a pandemic environment, because I think this was announced as a pandemic on Wednesday, I think. But you do see here that in this picture, only 2 people are wearing face masks, and all of the other folks walking around in London are not wearing face masks. So I guess some people are cautious, some people are less cautious, and maybe some people are not as overreactive as some people are, or as scared, or as hyperly worried. I'm not sure, but there's a couple people there that are worried. But the majority of people, you notice, are not as panicked as them. All right, so let's get back. Let's see if Terry is ready to be on the show right now. Terry, you're still there? Hello, Terry?
Me?
Yeah, are you there?
Are you talking to? Who are you talking to, Dave?
Terry, I'm talking to you right now. So what did you want to talk
Oh,
about?
yes, I'm here.
Okay, so did you
I
want?
wanted to ask you a question.
Okay, go ahead. I'm ready for your
See the
question.
couple with the mask on?
Yep, I saw
Are
that.
they holding hands?
Are they holding hands? Let me see. I'll pull it up here and I'll check. I
Looks me. I couldn't make it out on my own computer.
I don't think they're holding
I
hands.
have a
No.
32-inch screen.
They're not holding hands. I don't believe that they are holding hands. No.
No, they're not holding it. Okay, then I was going to say, it doesn't make sense.
Well, I don't know.
Do you know how many times we touch our face
I think
within the course of a minute?
I'm not.
Sometimes over 60 times.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that the virus is transmitted from pores of your skin absorbing the virus. I think it's
No,
an
I don't think it is.
it's an airborne thing, so it's got to either go. It's got to go through what's
You
called.
know what I want to bring up that's
No.
important? You know how the bees were dying, and the monarch butterflies were dying, and birds were falling out of the sky? This has happened all within the last 20 years.
Uh-huh.
I'm wondering if that wasn't part of the virus that's gone global now, if it just hasn't expanded, if they haven't released more of the virus into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding, Dave. I feel this way.
Well,
If I ever saw 4 little bees dead, it would break my heart. I don't know if I could. I don't know how I would feel. And now it's going to people. If that's how I feel, I think that it was an experiment, maybe gone awry.
yeah, well, that's
You know,
what.
they
That's
say
what.
things like that. You
Yeah.
never believe that it could happen.
Yeah, well, that's what Sparky brought up. So, you know what? Let me read some more of the chats. And Terry, I appreciate you calling tonight, and I appreciate you for hanging on while we were talking to Sparky. But I like to give a lot of
Yes,
people.
because I couldn't hear Sparky. Thank you, David.
Okay,
So
well,
there was no sense in me hanging on.
okay, well, I like to
So
give.
I shall hang up
Okay, I like to give
and say
people equal
goodbye to
time.
my favorite news guy.
Okay, well, cheers. I appreciate you
Okay.
calling. I really do appreciate you calling. I honestly do. I just want to see if anyone else will
I
call
know you
tonight.
do.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, again, I would like to give you guys an opportunity because I obviously have the opportunity to lean over and read the screen. And I would like to do that, but obviously to do that, it's a little less entertaining than you guys calling up and talking to me instead of me reading the screen. I like to hear what you typed in your own voices. So again, the phone number is 480-236-2111. Please call up that number, and the things that you typed, please talk to us. So Glenn was typing some stuff. I'm going to read Glenn's. Glenn says, whether it is deliberate or not, it is China's fault. So here we go. So Glenn does blame China, and Glenn believes it's not a conspiracy theory. He believes it's China's fault. The overreaching communist regime has led to people using unsafe hygiene practices even for those preparing and processing food. So now you do have to wonder, for instance, in Arizona, very recently in Arizona, I was walking to a place, and I typically never ate there. But just this past weekend, I was walking through a place where there was typically, I forget what kind of store it was. It wasn't a fast food thing, but I walked by it, and there was a thing on the door, and it said closed due to health concerns or whatever it was worded. So there's a place that was caught in the act of violating local ordinances for restaurant safety, hygiene, or whatever it is. There's a facility. Now you got to think, when you go to these places and you see people that are food servers, how really educated are they about how to process food? Now if you go into and I don't go to this place that often either, but there's a Subway sandwich place. You do notice that they are putting the gloves on, the gloves that you get the proctology test with. So actually, I've made a joke when I went to the Subway. I said, I'm not here for the proctology. I'm just here for a sandwich. And so I always say crappy stuff, right? Don't I? But I'm in there, and the guy's slipping on the gloves. So they do have a degree of training into how to prepare a safe sandwich. But to the other degree, when you're putting on the glove, the first glove that you put on, how do you put it on? You're putting it on with your naked hand to put the first glove on, because you got 2 gloves. To put the glove on, you're not touching the glove from the inside. You're touching it from the outside to slip it on your first hand. The second glove is a lot cleaner to a degree because your second hand's glove is going to go on with your already gloved hand. But there's an opportunity there to share a potential disease or bacteria or virus because of that food preparer who really has no option at that point. I mean, are they trained to wash their hands before they put the glove on, and after they're finished making that sandwich, if it's a shop that's not that populated with people in line, as soon as he serves that second customer and there's no third customer for about 15 minutes, I'm sure he takes the glove off. And does he, in that process, wash his hands before he puts the next glove on? And I've never seen that. I've never seen anyone, when I go into a store, a Subway or a Blimpies or a Jersey Mike's, or what's the other one, Jimmy John's, and they slip on the glove, I never see them saying, hang on, I'm going to wash my hands, and then put the glove on. I wonder if that's going to change as well. Because you go in there and there's no customer in line before you, so the guy's got the gloves off and he's putting the gloves on. Did he sterilize his hands before he put the gloves on? I don't know. So I think Mike is saying goodnight to folks. I see Mike saying goodnight. John is still here, but since I don't have any other callers, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to entertain you guys with a commercial, and I'm going to entertain you guys with a little bit of coronavirus comedy, as inappropriate as this is. By the way, Weird Al Yankovic, the writer of that parody 9 Coronas, I'll put up what he said here. Weird Al Yankovic, let's see, can I scroll it? I can't move this. So what I'm going to do is get rid of it and then show it on my other screen here. For some reason, I can't move this one. So I'll move it over here so you can see it, hopefully. Screwed up. Nevertheless, Weird Al Yankovic is saying he's not going to do a parody song about the coronavirus. So he's not. But here's a little commercial, a little funny clip, Corona comedy, inappropriate, politically incorrect, but I'll play it for you guys at a time where I probably shouldn't play it. But here it goes, guys. I'll play it one more time. The interesting thing is, a couple days ago I found this. A couple days ago, I thought it was highly funny. Do we think it's funny right now, or do we think it's inappropriate because people are getting sick and they're dying? Is this the wrong time to play this type of little comedy bit? But here it goes. I'll play it again. You guys, if you want, can comment about it. If you want to call it to 480-236-211 and tell Dave he better not make comedy stuff about this anymore because it's not funny. I'll play it again, and you guys can critique it if you want. Okay, Dave Darren back. If you'd like to call, I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes to call in. Then I'm going to sunset the show for the evening because this show has got to really start grabbing your attention, and your attention enough to ring the phone lines. So I'm going to play a song by, remember, I'm going to be doing the music show beginning on 4/29. I'm going to play a track now by King Washington. Check this out. Enjoy it. Enjoy the music. But in the meantime, while you're enjoying the music, think about what you want to talk and share with others on the coronavirus, and we'll talk about it, or I'm going to end the show. Okay, so here we go. King Washington on the Dave Darren Show, ready for your phone call. I'll take your call. I'll put you on hold till the song finishes. We'll get your thoughts on the program. If not, we're going to close down the show for the evening. So it's on you guys if you want to continue it or not. Cheers, guys. Here we go with the music. We'll be back in about 2 or 3 minutes.
And me, we rest upon the stars, and all the world is ours. Oh, oh. 2 or 3, surrender to your knees and blow me in the breeze. But don't expect my love. Don't expect my love. Don't expect my love. expect my love. You and me, we could have made it far. You should have walked me to the car, but no. Now I see that you want to follow me, but you sent it off to sea when you left me hanging. Don't expect my love. No, no. Don't expect my love. You don't get my love. So don't expect my love, 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 love. Should've known better with a fool like you that I would love everything you do, but you've been treating me wrong. Should've known better than to fall for you, that it would kill all the love I knew. You brought my favorite CD, and I wanna go home, home, home. Don't expect my love. Don't expect my love. Don't expect it, don't expect it, don't expect it, babe. Don't get my love. Don't expect my love, love. Love, 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 love.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. So I thought about a couple more things, especially because Ron Beck here mentioned, and you guys can read it in the chat. He says, I lost my income for at least the next month. I do festival face painting. And then he puts comma toys, etc. All festivals are being canceled, and you know it's right. And I mean, it's not right to do that, but it's right. I noticed that. I happen to, like I said, I live in Arizona. Arizona in the summertime, it's almost like the equivalent of the winter in the East Coast. Arizona's time when people go out is specifically this month, because you know some people think it's a little bit chilly. Believe it or not, Arizona gets a little bit chilly in like end of December, January. It's kind of chilly out. February it starts warming up. If you go outside of our front house right now, you will see all of the vegetation growing. This is our springtime. Comes earlier for us than it does for you guys. And in August and September, in July, August, September, it's 120 degrees here. So we're like the equivalent of cabin fever in the winter zones. We've got cabin fever in the summer when it's 120. People don't go out because it's just too hot. So now everyone's got their festivals. I'm sure there's going to be less festivals. I wonder if the Olympics is going to go on. I have no idea about the impact of the Olympics. But Ron talks about the festivals. I'll talk about a couple other things. How about haircuts? We all get haircuts, and sometimes the haircut place will ask me if I want my eyebrows trimmed. They are close to your face. They are close to your body. They've got to come close. They've got to put your hands on your hair. And, of course, your hair has sweat glands on it because you've got your head here. And you're sweating, the sweat is going on your hands. Haircut stylist, there's a little fear factor there. And typically when you get a haircut, they're not wearing gloves. I wonder if that's going to change, if they're going to start wearing gloves when they cut your hair. I bet that will change. I bet when I get my next haircut, remember me, I used to have long hair up until a month and a half ago. I got my haircut. I'll probably go in another 3 or 4 weeks and get a little touch up. I wonder if it's going to be different that they're going to wear gloves. What else here? Gigs, music, like I'm doing the music show, right? I'm going to come back in April 29th to start the music show again. I love to go out and see local bands, record interviews with those guys. Am I going to go to a close proximity with 200 people in a venue where people are there, they're drinking, they're smoking? Well, they can't smoke, although some places they can, but they're drinking, they've been exposed to the outside, they're probably shaking hands because musicians do that. They don't usually worry about stuff like this. Maybe they are now, but you're going to be in a gig checking out some music. Am I going to go there to check out local bands? I've got another month. Maybe this will all be less of an issue in a month when I start doing the April show. Maybe it won't be an issue then. But it's on my mind now. For instance, I got invited to a show tomorrow night. Do I go? Do I not go? The band I'm going to go see typically draws a crowd. Am I going to go there for the large crowd? Or am I going to go there and there's going to be less of a crowd than there normally is? That'll be interesting as well. Tonight's Thursday night. Thursday nights I've been going to karaoke. I told you guys I wanted to do the show earlier on Thursday. Tonight I didn't because I'm not going to karaoke, which actually is at a casino. There's a local casino here my wife and I go to. They got a kind of cool karaoke presenter up there, and they've got a large audience. In fact, I can't even sing there much because the crowd is so large. A lot of nice people there that I've started to get to know. They talk to me, they invite me to their table. I'm talking with the guys. I wonder if it's going to be less people there now in the casino's karaoke or the casino in general. Because all these people that typically gather in large places, they're gathering a little bit less, and it's impacting people's lives, people's livelihoods. It'll be interesting to see. So I got to tell you guys, that's the end of the show for tonight. I appreciate Terry, Jeff, and Sparky that called in. I won't thank the heckler, but I'll be on periodically whenever I remember the show airs, and it's prime time on 4/29. That's April 29th with the rock and roll show that I'm going to revive and regenerate with the PR firm that's going to help that to happen. I would appreciate if some of you guys at least check the show out. I know you like the talk format. You like the UFO paranormal stuff that I used to do. Music is going to be a lot different. You guys have to have a love of music to really love that show, so we'll see what happens. We do have a call now coming in from Las Vegas. Let's bring him in. This is Dave Darren on the Dave Darren Show. You're calling from Las Vegas on the show. What would you like to talk about? What is your first name, and what would you like to talk about?
Hey, this is Glenn. Sorry I haven't called in a while. I've been in a very busy situation at work, so I don't get a chance to call in much. I often have to turn you down for them in meetings. But yeah, I just wanted to essentially just go over the things that I went over earlier, that I really haven't changed my habits much. I've always obsessively washed my hands. I've always disinfected the shopping carts ever since those things came out, 10 years ago. The only thing I don't do anymore is shake hands. And I also do remote IT work from home, so that doesn't affect me that much. But I was just at the regular grocery store, not Costco, not Sam's Club, just a regular grocery store just a couple of days ago. And yes, the name brand toilet paper and the name brand water was gone, but the generics were there in plenty of supply. You don't have to go to a big warehouse store. So here in Las Vegas, it doesn't. I mean, the Costco and the Sam's Club, yes, they were both out of toilet paper and water, but the regular grocery stores don't seem to be. So.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so you said that you haven't really changed much, but you've always been a guy that has washed his hands. You did change your habit of shaking hands. I'm curious, one thing I'm curious, and I've asked the other callers as well, do you think this is overhyped, something that is not as critical as a lot of people are making it, hyped by social media, or do you think it is something that we better get a grasp on and we're not overreacting to it? What do you think about that? What's your feelings?
I believe the media has definitely overhyped this, and the media has been responsible for the market fall. The media has been responsible for all these events being canceled that I'm not necessarily sure should be canceled. I mean, during every flu season, people who are at high risk, the elderly, the infirm, should always be avoiding public contact, and people should be washing their hands and using Kleenex instead of blowing their noses and sneezing and coughing, out in the air. But I mean, this is common sense for our flu season. The only good thing about it is that people are doing that now, and maybe this will become a normal habit every flu season. But the media has definitely overhyped this. I don't think so many major events should be canceled, especially major events where relatively young people who are probably not going to be affected that badly by the virus, if they even get infected at all, are going to be there. Of course, if those people are coming in contact with people who are at risk, they should use the common sense thing. Wash your hands, disinfect, etc., before you come in contact with somebody who is in one of those situations. But yes, the media is definitely responsible for a majority of the panic.
Yep. And what's interesting is flu season comes along, and a lot of people get a flu shot. Some people that get the flu shot say, now I don't know if this is true, I don't know if it's an over-exaggeration as well, but some people say when they get the flu shot, they all of a sudden get the flu. So some people do not get the flu shot because they're fearful, and it's happened to them before, that as soon as they get a flu shot, they get the flu. So whenever there is a vaccine for this, and I suppose that there probably will be, whenever there's a vaccine for the coronavirus, maybe next year when this time comes around and rolls around again, there's a vaccine for it. I wonder if people are going to be scared to get the vaccine, thinking it's going to be like the flu shot, where I might actually get it. And since the overall perspective is the flu is a lot less dangerous statistically than the coronavirus is based upon percentage of people getting it and percentage of people getting killed from the virus. I wonder if people would be more hesitant to get the vaccine thinking it's going to be like the flu shot. I get the flu shot, I get the flu, but I'm not going to die from the flu, but I'm going to get the corona vaccine. And then if I get the coronavirus, I'm more apt to die because statistically more people die from it than many more people die from the flu, but a lot of people get the flu. Not the same amount of people have gotten the coronavirus is typically get the flu, but I wonder if they're going to be fearful of that.
I'm sure that there is a percentage, the same percentage the anti-vaxxers, the people who don't normally get the flu shot. I haven't gotten the flu shot in the last several years, not because I get a negative reaction or because I think I'm going to get the flu. It's just I'm still in the age and health range group where it's not really necessary. I don't want to be around a whole bunch of other people who might already be sick who are in hospitals or urgent cares or going to the doctor visits. So I stay away from that reason. But I believe that, if there is a coronavirus coming out next year, more people will be willing to get that than they're willing to get the regular flu shot because it will have gone through all these rigorous trials already.
Now,
and this is one particular exact strain, whereas normally flu season, they're guessing a mixture of 2 or 3 of the most common strains, and there's half a dozen strains that go around the world every flu season. So with the regular flu, it's kind of a hit and miss. With the coronavirus, it's probably going to be a vaccine that's specific to this particular COVID-19 strain of the coronavirus.
Yep. Have you done it? I read this. I forget where I read it, but I did read that during this time you should actually drink more fluids, because if there's a virus on your body somewhere and it's in the close proximity of your mouth, if it gets into your mouth and you have a dry mouth, it's going to linger in there. So people are saying drink more fluids, because when you drink the fluid and the virus goes in the stomach, the acids from the stomach will kill the coronavirus. Have you done anything differently, like drink more fluids, eat a better diet to build up your immune system? Have you changed anything from that perspective at all?
Well, actually, I do need to drink more water, especially out here in the desert. Las Vegas, just like Arizona, it's extremely dry, and we're supposed to drink more water than the average person. So I drink a lot of water anyway. And I've also given up sodas and other sugary sweets, but that has nothing to do with the virus. But related to the virus, different things that I'm seeing from medical professionals include adding more vitamin C, adding more vitamin D, and if you start to feel a tickle in your throat or a normal feeling in your throat that you normally associate with a cold, take zinc.
Okay.
So vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc. And then when I get a cold or I get a sinus infection, I eat what's called Jewish penicillin, which is also known as chicken soup.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. So one final question for you. I'm curious about this. And like I said, I could probably research this and find it out, but I've been so friggin' busy lately. It's too bad I haven't had a chance to read more on this. But when you feel a little bit ill, and like I said, you may know this from reading more than I have. I wonder when you start to feel some of the symptoms, and I don't even know the symptoms to a degree. I heard that they're flu-like symptoms. Do you think it's a good idea then to immediately rush to the doctor? I wonder if there's going to be a rush. It's a rush on toilet paper.
Absolutely not. Most states and a lot of cities have CDC hotlines set up where you can call and give them your symptoms. I know a lot of IT shops. I don't know about general businesses, but I know a lot of IT shops, like the one I work for. They have hotlines set up that are, virtual visits with a professional where you're talking to a real medical professional, but you're at home. And that's the kind of thing that I would recommend. I definitely would not recommend running out to the doctor. If you've actually got like stuffy nose, runny nose, sneezing, those are not symptoms of the virus. The virus symptoms include high fever, dry cough, things of that nature.
Right. Okay. It's interesting. One of the things that's changed in your facility is now having this virtual. Is this new? This virtual doctor? Is this brand new?
Well, I think it's United Healthcare. So anybody who has, any corporation that has United Healthcare, this is an available option to the company.
Mm-hmm. Now, I lied. I have one more question. I always lie to people and say my questions are over. I got another one. So you mentioned some of the symptoms are dry cough, fever. If you've got that, and you've read up on this, is there a gestation period? In other words, as soon as you have these symptoms, do you have like 4 weeks before it could become critical? Do you have 5 weeks? Do you have 2 weeks? Or it varies from person to person, I'm sure, but...
I believe it does vary from person to person, depends on your level of health and your level of activity. I do know that in several interviews that I've watched online from people who have actually had the virus, including one gentleman in his 60s, basically he had no symptoms at all for several days, and then all of a sudden he had a massively high fever and a dry cough. The fever lasted it was a high fever, it was painful like a fever normally is, but it only lasted for 12 hours and then went away, and then the dry cough remained for a few days.
Okay, but then was he diagnosed with the coronavirus? He was, right?
Yeah, he was one of those people on the cruise ship that got airlifted.
Okay, so he had the coronavirus, 12 hours of heavy fever, a cough, but was there any chemicals given to him, any prescription drugs, or just his immune system kicked it out naturally on its own?
He did go to the hospital, and they gave him the preventative, the preventative care that they talked about giving to people in the press briefings.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
But no vaccine, just the normal preventative stuff. Things that are designed to combat fever, combat cough, that sort of thing.
Uh-huh. Okay. I saw something on the thread that like these natural disinfectants like Lysol. I think some people said that on Lysol or some product it has coronavirus on it. So is that true? I haven't investigated that even. Like I said, I should do more research when I do these shows, but unfortunately I don't. So I'm going to go to some of you guys to answer the questions. Lysol, the back of the container, or some other product. Does it have?
Obviously, it's not designed specifically for this COVID-19 coronavirus, but the term coronavirus refers to a virus that has a specific shape, particular shape, that was like, shaped like a corona, like the corona around the sun. And so it's designed to disinfect general coronaviruses, not necessarily this particular strain.
Oh, so there's other strains of this particular coronavirus. This coronavirus is called 19, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, COVID-19, COVID-19.
Right. Now, are there 1 through 18? Like obviously they didn't just skip 1 through 18 and jump to 19. Are there that many of them?
Quite likely. I mean, there are, just like there are different strains of the flu virus every year.
Yeah.
There have been hundreds of strains of the flu virus, the general influenza virus, over the years.
Yeah, so I wonder if there has been, you know a lot about this, so I'm glad you came on. Have there been coronaviruses prior years, but just not as predominant, not as marketed by the social media? Has there been coronavirus before that we just was not in the spotlight? Have there been that? Was there Corona 17?
Yeah, absolutely. Several of the influenza strains are coronaviruses just because of their particular shape.
How about that? Wow. Well, great information.
I mean, this one is obviously stronger than the standard flu, and for those who are infirm or elderly, it has 10 times the death rate of the standard flu for those people in those conditions. But for average people who are in really good shape, it's not really been proven so far to be that much more deadly than the regular flu.
Wow. Well, more questions for you. Prediction of how long this is going to remain a pandemic. Is there any prediction of when this spike will level itself out and then come down a bit? Any prediction on that at all?
Nothing I've heard from medical professionals anywhere, but my gut instinct tells me that by mid-June it should be dying off.
Uh-huh. So we still have to survive April and May and half of June, potentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is I'd like to see the administration do a little bit more for small businesses. I mean, they're trying, obviously, but I would like to see a little bit more short-term aid given to small and medium businesses. Large businesses, for the most part, will be able to weather this with no problem. But
well, coronavirus, in your opinion, natural, man-made? What do you think?
I don't think it was deliberate. I think it was accidental.
But you think it was man-made, accidentally distributed through the public?
Essentially, basically, yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, from specifically, you think China is the inventor of this?
Well, I mean, China is definitely the origin point.
Uh-huh. Wow.
And of course, some people in the media said, "Oh, you're saying it's from China, therefore you're racist." No, it's a geographical fact that it started in China.
Right.
It has nothing to do with anybody being, racist or xenophobic or anything like that.
Yep. Well, Glenn, thanks very much for the call. Would you like to add anything? Anything I didn't ask you that you want to make reference to that I missed in asking you the questions I've been asking you?
Nothing I can think of at this point. I think I pretty much said everything that I was planning at.
Okay, well, great. Glenn, again, thanks for calling in. You've called before. I appreciate you every time you call. You're an excellent caller to the program. Thanks so much, man.
All right, take care.
Okay, cheers.
All right, bye.
Okay, guys, I think that's it for today. If anyone wants to call, I'll hang on here for about 15 seconds and talk a little bit more. Anyone else want to call? Ring the line right now, 480-236-2111. 480-236-2111. I sound like a telethon, but if you'd like to call in right now, and I'll bring you on during the next 5, 10, 15, 20 seconds while I close the show down. Again, don't forget, I come on here periodically. I don't announce it the day before because I have no idea what topic I'll have interest about, or I have no idea if I'll even have time to come online and talk to you guys. I did today, so I wanted to bring this topic up because I thought it's an interesting topic. It's an awareness topic we should all at least be aware of, and at least be aware of the people that are part of this group. If you guys have a fear, then we should explore it and see what you see that we don't see, which maybe we should take note of. So that's what I was trying to do with today's program and tonight's topic. Let's see, anyone want to call in? Now's the time. I will play one commercial while we have an opportunity to have you guys call in. I don't have any commercial ramped up here, but I'm sure I can find one. I'll do one of my funny commercials, which is getting a little stale. I probably need to upload some more commercials. Let me find it, if I can, and play a commercial. Did I find one? Man, I'm having a hard time. Oh, here we go. I'll play a commercial. I think it's a 1 minute, 30-second commercial, giving you some time. The thing about it, if you want to talk, is the final caller on the Dave Darren Show, and then I'll wrap the show up if there's no callers, and then I'll see you next time I come on. Here we go. Commercial, back in 1.5 minutes.
Sword now?
No thanks. I'd rather have Russian Bear.
Who needs a sword when you have Russian Bear? It's a bodybuilder's right to fight for.
Free bodybuilding program from Val Vassilif with Purchase.
If you've got a passion for fashion, and you've got a craving for saving, take the wheel of your automobile and swing on down to Ideal.
Okay, guys, Dave Darren back at you. We're going to close out the show tonight. I got to thank all you guys for calling in. It was a blast. We had some great callers, some great insights from Glenn, who's been looking at the news a lot more than I have. I wish I had the time to do that. And I think that's all we got for tonight. And I will see you guys next time I get the inspiration to do a show or a topic to cover. So thanks, guys, for being on the show closer, and I'll see you guys soon. Cheers.
oxygen is raining. Blood that runs through me races so rapidly. Tense my aggression.
Retaliate to justify. So own the life from me. You turn everything.